Oh my God. Everything went wacky doodle. No sound from Lolo. What a difference a day makes. Hello. Good morning. Good morning. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Good morning. I'm a little, yeah, oopsie, there we go. Didn't mean to scare everybody. Good morning. Oh my God, J Rance is here easily. Kim, Carrie, peace, love. J Rance again. Neil again. Peace, love again. Kim again. J Rance. Neil. Scott. Easily distracted. Carrie. Hi, Carrie. God, it's so nice to see everyone. I'm good. How was your day? How was your weekend? Aw, thanks, Jay. Hi, Oomph. Um, how was your weekends? How was everybody's weekends? Was it good? I hope so. You guys have a did you have a vacation weekend? That's cool. I hope you did. I didn't do anything real vacationy. Well, actually, well, never mind. I'm not going to complain. First thing in the morning, who's going to complain? My God. Whoa. Anyway, good morning. I know I look a little like blah, blah, blah. I actually am, well, actually I do look disheveled. I feel much more disheveled than I might look, but there we go. You had a Thanksgiving weekend. Oh my God, I didn't even get to say hello and happy Thanksgiving to our Canadian family. Oh my God, I'm so happy you guys had a little vacation. Had the whole family over. Grandson is crawling now. Oh, he's unstoppable now. There you go. He's going to be unstoppable. I think that's great. I think that's really sweet. So I hope everyone had a good weekend. I had I mean, I slept most of the weekend. I'm going to be honest with you. And then yesterday, I really needed to get out of the house. So, and I had to go pick up my medicine, which is like a mile and a half away. And I'm like, I'm just going to walk because I need to move. Like, I can tell my body needs to move. It's just bad. Da, 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 da. It was a beautiful day yesterday. It was kind of like big clouds and like a little breeze, but still warm. And so it was a really lovely day. So I walked over to get my medicine and then I walked back. And that's about probably like 3.5, maybe 4 miles, a little less than 4 miles probably. I am wrecked. My body is wrecked. My everything is wrecked. I'm wrecked. My shoulder, which is bad because of my arthritis right now, gone. Painful all the time. Cannot wait to get that medicine. I see the rheumatologist next week, and I hope to Jesus fucking God they have a they have a prescription for me because this is unbearable. I cannot use this shoulder, and I really want to go out this weekend and protest. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to need some pain relief for that. But I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it, of course. I mean, silly. Um, anyway, so I'm babbling, which is going to be a theme. How uh okay, well let's start with the elephant in the room, which is what in the fuck is going on in what is referred to as the Middle East? Chicago had a dino. Portland has a dino. I'm so jealous. Everybody's has dinos. I'm so glad. I mean, I can't. I'm so happy to see all the suits. It does make me a little bit sad that I'm not out there. I wish I was younger. I wish I was like. Well, I wish my body worked better. It's not really that I'm not young enough because I'm like whatever, but my body will not. It can't do it anymore. And I'm going to tell you right now, that's one of the most depressing things in the whole world. One of the most depressing things is when your body when your body starts to give out. It's just really fucking, and I didn't expect it at this age. I really didn't, but it's happening, and I'm trying to fight it really hard, but it's anyway. I'll feel better when I get medicine. Haggard, oh my God, it's so good to see you. Lee, good morning. I know, I am the OG, right? No, I'm so glad. I think that the inflatables to me bring such a sense of joy and kind of like mockery. I think that I cannot be happier that there are as many suits out there as possible. So I'm eternally grateful for all the people putting on suits, whether they be frogs, dinosaurs, whatever. I think it's great. They really do crush the narrative. And I'm telling you right now, I think inflatables are the secret weapon. I think I think it really has made a difference. Oh yeah, how's your new old car, Neil? And did everyone in Canada have a happy Thanksgiving? Did you have something? Did you do something fun? I hope. I hope you did. I hope it was a good weekend for you. Let's see what else happened. Yeah, my thing is the whole boondoggle in the Middle East. If I had a dino, I would have a sign that says this is for Lolo. Oh, peace, love, you're so sweet. What a sweetheart. Ooh, a bubble machine for Saturday. That'd be good. I started a craze. I don't think I started it. I'd love to take a responsibility for that, but I just don't think that I got enough coverage when I did it. I did get a meme coin, so I just want everyone to know that I got a meme coin. I may not have gotten on Stephen Colbert, but I got a meme coin. Yeah, stick that in your inflatable vent. Suck it. Oh my gosh, is my music still playing? Oh no, it didn't. Did I turn it off? I turned it off. You know how I'm notoriously not good at turning it off. Let's see. Where is it? Where the fuck did it go? Yeah, so I'm telling you, I just think it's great. And it is basically it is shifting the narrative in moments of tension to oh, thanks, peace, love. That's very sweet of you. That's all that matters. That's all that matters is you guys know I did it. No. Um and I just think it's great. I'm telling you, the more and I just delight in seeing the different inflatables that are getting out there. Oh, the Bears won last night? Dub Bears. Okay, good for Dub Bears. I think that's a great idea. I think it's just a great idea. I think that it really diffuses what I think all of us perceive as really stupid fucking tension. Like, stop with the fucking tension. Oh, I'm on Top Chat. God damn it. Did I hear clumps about how they gave Hamas the okay to deal with problems in Gaza? What? Really, Lee? I didn't hear that. BB doesn't want. Well, I was reading, and I'm gonna read a piece. I don't know if Tina. God, I wish I'm better. I need a better brain. But I think Tina. Yeah, bubbles work too. Yeah, bubbles are fun. Um, I think Tina shared this article about the Gaza situation that I really want to read, which has been on my mind like the whole weekend. The whole thing has been like, what the fuck's going on over there? What's going on? Oh, I'm sorry. I gotta take a drink of coffee. Did you see the face BB made when Dump said he should be pardoned? I didn't watch all of the speech, which is unusual. Why didn't I? I don't know why. I did see some of it, but I was like, I just can't do this. I can't see him speak in front of the Knesset. Did you see how exhausted Dump looks? This travel is not good for him. All this travel is really hard. I love the Axel. I know. Oh my god, so cute. Yeah, see, that's the thing. I think Pikachu started the inflatables. I mean, in earnest. I mean, I was wearing the dinosaur suit a long time ago. Don't get me wrong, okay? I have evidence that I was wearing a dinosaur suit a long time ago. But I really think it was Pikachu and Turkey who started the craze of, inflatables being hilarious at protests. So I have to kind of I have to give credit where credit is due. But I'm happy to have been part of the movement. Is there a mechanism for a pardon? Well, he asked the Knesset to pardon Bibi. That's what he did. It was oh, yeah. Oh, great. Thanks, Lee. Hi, Grace Lisa. Can we please send the National Guard to Alaska? Do they need to go to Alaska? What happened? Did something happen in Alaska? Or is it just, can we send them to the Alaska? Oh, I don't know. I don't know if the Knesset has pardon rules at all. I don't know that. That's a good question. I'm not sure. I thought the guy he was asking was JD Vance with a shaved head. Oh, that's the head of the Knesset. That's the head of the Knesset. I think he's a real right winger, if I'm not mistaken, right? Oh, the baby Trump blimp costume. That's a great one. Actually, that'd be a good one. That'd be a good one. Oh, the typhoon wiped out. Oh no, I did not know that. Well, that's where we need the National Guard then. Jesus Christ. Oh, I'm so sorry. That's right. There was a storm. I saw a storm off of Baja a couple days ago. That's right. And we're having some weather. I think it rained last night. I think I heard it. And the clouds were rolling in when I was walking around yesterday. That's interesting. Yeah, the National Guard need to go to fucking Alaska. What the fuck is the problem? Like, what are we waiting for? Oh, whoa. Everybody okay? I just started falling all apart in a minute. Turns out my ear was not in my ear. Oh, I see what's happening. I see what's happening. Hold on. Oh my gosh, this whole thing like came off. What happened here? What happened, everybody? Well, that's kind of a pain in the ass. Okay. So does that go like that and that? Does that go like that? Does that go like that? Oh, that's okay. This is bad. What's that? Okay, I don't know what's happening right now, but I'm gonna keep it. It's pouring now and thunder. Oh my gosh, Kim. I didn't even look outside yet. Oh my gosh. JD is a beardo. Yeah, why doesn't JD have to shave his face? Because he looks like a baby under all that. I'm starting to suspect your cat. I know. I think they do. I think they come in and like take that off and move that around and turn her music on. Fucking cats. Those fucking cats. Um, and we're gonna watch. We're gonna listen to SCOTUS this morning. I think. At least that's what I had planned. I don't know. I don't know about anybody else, but I had planned listening to SCOTUS. Let's see. Let me just check though. Yeah, it's 7 a.m. This one isn't as thrilling to me, but I understand. All of them are compelling. All of the SCOTUS cases are compelling. But there's a Supreme Court case, man convicted of gun crime seeking reduction of, I don't know what, it cuts off after that. So we'll definitely listen in on that for a little bit. There's nothing happening. What the hell's going on now? And thunder sounds like a potent whiskey. Is there coverage inside the Comey trial? I think it's federal, isn't it? Is it federal? Is it federal? I don't even know. I didn't see anything necessarily, but oh my God, you guys, can I just show you this? Hold on. Hold on. I just saw something that I want to show you. I don't think I believe that I'm seeing this. Hold on. Let me move this there. You see this? I what? Look at this. What? Oh, wait. Oh, shit. You guys aren't hearing it. Oh, my God. I'm so sorry. That's so fucking... 38 seconds. You had to no sound. I'm so sorry. We're watching... Okay. Sorry, I'm going to play it again. This is just 2 minutes. It's a restraint that they're using.
They broke my finger from here. From here, they broke my hand.
That bag Juan Antonio Pineda is referring to is the RAP, a restraint system used by law enforcement throughout the country.
The RAP is meant to stop a fight, to eliminate the strikes and blows, to make somebody sit comfortably, again, reasonably comfortable, right? It's not a comfortable situation.
But about a dozen people have told the Associated Press that Immigration and Customs Enforcement officers had used it on them or their loved ones, simply for crying or verbally objecting to their deportation.
I wouldn't say that that's
What?
ICE's overall policy. I don't think that's because if it was anybody's policy, I'd have a hard time working with that
Really?
organization.
Would you?
Right? Because that's not the purpose of the RAP.
Excuse me, sir?
In response to an AP query, Assistant Homeland Security Secretary Tricia McLaughlin wrote,
This
"The
woman.
use of restraints
This woman
on
needs to be
detainees
on
during
trial.
deportation flights has been long-standing standard
This
ICE
woman
protocol
needs to go to
and
prison.
an essential measure to ensure the
Tricia
safety
Laughlin.
and
Don't forget
well-being
that name.
of both detainees and the officers' agents accompanying them." An internal watchdog report raised red flags, in part because of concerns about reports of deaths involving the use of the RAP by police.
What?
The AP has identified a dozen fatal cases in the last decade where local police or jailers around the United States used the RAP, and autopsies determined that restraint had played a role in the death. But the makers of the RAP say there have been no deaths when deployed properly, and they made modifications for the device used by ICE.
We
hilarious.
created a metal loop in the front so that persons can be handcuffed to the front. Now I can sit here like this. It's almost
For
like I'm
hours?
folding my hands, listening to a speech, or
Oh, really?
watching something on TV.
That's what it's like?
Pineda, the El Salvadoran man who said he was in the country legally, says ICE officers kept him in the RAP for over 16 hours during 2 round trips to the Mexican border. He has since been deported to that country.
Yeah. So, yeah. I just saw that and I'm like, I've never seen that before. I've never seen that before. I don't know I don't know how we got here. I mean, I know how we got here, Grace Lisa, because, and this is something that, is painfully aware. This country has always been this way. This country has always, I mean, we fucking had most of our industry was based on slavery, for Christ's sake. So it's not that this country is not capable. It certainly has been doing this. And I know that some of this is now we just get to see what's happening behind the curtain. I just don't know. It's kind of hilarious to me. It's like 2 different worlds. And I live in them too, right? I live in the 2 different worlds too. I live in it's been happening, right? I live in the world of, watching what's happening unfold on the ground, watching what's happening across the world and understanding some of the dynamics and really being like, and I also live in a world where, I go to CVS to pick up my medicine and, I might watch the new horror movie on my TV or so, like something like that. Like I live in that world too. Like I, want to do things that are fun and not related to activism or whatever. But increasingly it's becoming hard for me or hard for a lot of us, I think, to just keep going as if this is kind of like, normal. Like, oh well, there's just our world where we have people being wrapped in things and sent on planes to countries still today. And but we're worried about I don't know, name your beef. The beef between, I don't know, Bad Baby and Taylor, Alabama. I don't know. Alabama, whatever her name is. Like, I just think it's such an interesting thing that we can live both realities. And I wish we couldn't. I actually don't. I wish we could all just be like, oh no, we've got to get it. We all have to get out in the street. And I'm just as guilty as anyone else. Like, I just wish. I know that I'm not a leader. I'm not necessarily like I'm going to get out there and just da 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 da, But I don't think we should be acting like things are normal, and and that's why. And I've even like I too this weekend I was like I watched one of the troll shows and I was like interacting with trolls and stuff like that and over stupid stuff, and I still am like. Why do we waste time on this petty beef? I'm sorry, but I'm going to say it again. If you're spending time on petty beef on the internet, you really don't have anything else you could be concerned about, or maybe you are concerned about other things, but you certainly don't show it with your activities. I don't know. I'm not trying to, well, actually I am trying to tell people what to do, but anyway, I'm sorry. I just kept going on. Kevin, good morning. How are you, darling? How are you? Yeah, nice lumbar support too. Yeah, I bet. This ice situation is much worse than most people are even wanting. I agree with you, Haggard. I think it's probably much worse. And I just can't even understand why I don't know. It's so weird. It's such a weird time that it's just like we're putting up with it. I don't really know. Hi, Mr. Spock. How are you? Live long and prosper. Live long and prosper. I know, gal. I'm in such a small town. It's hard for me. I drove 3 hours to the last No Kings and had to get a hotel for the night, so it's expensive. Yeah, that's not sustainable, right? That's not sustainable. I don't know. It's just really, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I don't really know. Anyways, but here we are. Here we are. Mm, mm, mm. La 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 la. Let me see. Where is my? Oh, I know. I need to go to blue sky. Blue skies smiling at me. Nothing but blue skies do I see. Okay, this is the story I wanted to read to you. I have time. Okay. Clowes. Clowes, please. Clowes, please. All right. Joe Biden and Netanyahu were offered a Gaza deal a year ago, says negotiator. Oh, and not just any negotiator. Oh, crappy poop. This is from the Times from yesterday? No, the 10th. I'm sorry, Friday the 10th. This is from Friday the 10th. Damn it, I'm a combat vet and I hear there's a foreign nation building an airbase in my neighborhood, let alone our country. Yeah, I mean, that's another thing that's interesting. I just, under normal circumstances, I might go, oh, code training, whatever, blah, blah, blah. No borders, getting to know each other, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it should be the last straw for America first. Yeah, right? I mean, hello. But no, it's just smart business. That's right. When they do it, it's smart business. When we do it, it's treason. If Joe Biden had negotiated that, it would have been treason. So there. Okay. So this I thought was very good, though. I had not read this. Joe Biden and Netanyahu were offered the Gaza deal a year ago, says negotiator. Gershon Baskin says he got the plan to the president's desk, but then learned the Israelis, get this, kids, Get this, kids. Wait, I gotta move it. I'm so sorry. So I can look at you. Want to look at you. Want to look at you. That's where I picked this up from. Okay. All right. Israelis and Palestinians may have danced in the streets when news broke overnight that a deal had been reached between Hamas and Israel over the first phase of a peace deal for Gaza. But the terms of the deal were in place more than a year ago, according to an independent Israeli negotiator, and could have been agreed to months ago. Gershon Baskin, the architect of the negotiations that freed the Israeli soldier Gilad Shalit in 2011, revealed on Thursday that Hamas had agreed the exact same terms of the deal in September of 2024, in the last months of the Biden administration, but that Biden officials had disregarded it, while Benjamin Netanyahu had refused, point blank. Why did Biden officials disregard it? I would like to know. I mean, maybe it was because the deal was bad for Gaza. I don't know. I would like to know more, though. This deal could have been done a long time ago, Baskin wrote in an essay revealing his involvement. Hamas agreed to all the same terms in September 2024 in what became known as the 3 weeks deal that I had received in writing and voice message in Arabic and in English. But at that point, the response of the Israeli negotiators was that the prime minister did not agree to end the war. Baskin said he got his plan onto Biden's desk, but was unable to get a hearing from his chief negotiator. Brett McGurk refused to sway from the bad deal that he was negotiating, he said. Wait, Baskin said he got his plan onto Biden's desk. Oh, his plan onto Biden's desk, but was unable to get a hearing. Okay, Brett McGurk refused to sway from the bad deal that he was negotiating, he said. Baskin said members of the American negotiating team were as frustrated as I was in their inability to convince Biden and Biden's people to look seriously at the deal on the table. In Doha, the Qataris said they could do nothing more without the American adoption of the plan. Nothing could be done because the obstacle was Israel. Baskin would soon learn that the Israelis had no intention of striking any agreement before a change of administration in Washington. On December 26, 2024, Baskin met Ronan Barr, then head of the Shin Bet agency, where he was requested not to use my back channels because in 3 weeks there will be a ceasefire deal. From that moment, it was clear to me that the only way the war would come to an end is when President Trump makes the decision that it has to end, he said. He set about establishing a back channel to Trump's envoy, Steve Witkoff, knowing that the negotiation did not have to be directly with the Israeli side. The Israeli side would accept whatever Trump forced them to accept. What? Baskin heard Witkoff would be at a Bitcoin conference in Abu Dhabi and caught a flight there. The encounter led to swift negotiations, resulting in a ceasefire on January 19th, allowing Trump to boast that he had brought peace to the Middle East before he even returned to office the next day. The ceasefire had 3 stages, the first of which saw 33 Israeli hostages released in exchange for 1,900 Palestinian prisoners, while Israeli troops were to withdraw from populated areas and humanitarian aid flooded in. The second and third stages were designed to achieve a permanent ceasefire with the release of additional hostages and prisoners while Israel completely withdrew and reconstruction began. The deal collapsed when Israel refused to progress to past the first stage, stranding the remaining hostages. Israel put Gaza under siege and launched a fresh offensive. Each side traded blame over the coming months as famine gripped parts of Gaza. On September 8th, Baskin was with American negotiators as the Qatari government presented Hamas with effectively the same deal from a year earlier. With only 20 living hostages remaining, they were all on the table at the same time. The negotiations collapsed a day later when Israel bombed the home of the Hamas official Khalil al-Hayya, killing his son. Hamas was convinced the attack could not have happened without the agreement of Trump, Baskin said. The next day, Witkoff texted Baskin saying, "We had zero to do with this. They have apologized to us." What? Baskin's task was to persuade Hamas the U.S. was not involved. I did not make suggestions regarding the Israeli side because for over a year I believe that if President Trump decides that the war has to end, Trump will force Netanyahu into the agreement, he said. That is exactly what happened. Arab leaders, infuriated by the Doha strike, went to the White House where Baskin's plan formed the basis of what would become Trump's 20-point plan. Trump called Netanyahu personally to tell him they were close to a deal. Netanyahu tried to resist. Why are you so negative? Trump is reported to have fumed. When Netanyahu tried to tweak the plan, Qatari mediators who had refused to leave did their best to pull him back. Hamas signaled their agreement despite silence on key issues such as disarmament, and Trump enthusiastically accepted. It would take a few more days before Turkish, Egyptian, and Qatari mediators met the Americans in Sharm el-Sheikh, where they shuttled for 3 days between Israeli and Hamas representatives. At 2 a.m. on Thursday, the Israelis and Hamas left their separate enclaves to face each other for the first time. The deal was signed, Baskin wrote, and now we have to wait for its full implementation, and now we can begin to breathe again. That's interesting. I don't know. I would like to know more. I would like to know more about where Biden and his team were in September. And all kinds. It just made me have a lot more questions. Good morning, Karen. I need funny ideas for my sign on Saturday. It should insult ICE and or the president. Okay. Israel knew and did nothing, even facilitated it, softening up key border points and delaying help to maximize the carnage. Absolutely. No, it definitely did that. Does anyone know if it is true that the music festival had a location change on one day notice? I don't know. I don't know about that. I think there's a lot we need to know about this conflict. I think there's a lot. I think we need to know what precipitated it. What is Israel's involvement in the, yeah. I think we need to know it all. Frankly, I think we need to know it all. It's a total mess, and it's not a fun mess. And yeah. Yeah, an ego boost for Trump. Yeah. Well, that's what it's what Jim said was going to happen way back when, the same thing Nixon did. Oh, Reagan, yeah, with the hostages. Yeah, and who knew that I mean, I just need to hear more from the Biden administration now. Like, I really need to know, what the fuck were you guys up to, and what were you thinking, and all that kind of stuff. Like, what in the world? Okay, oops, we're late. Sorry. Let me get us to the SCOTUS. Let me get us to the SCOTUS. Yeah. God, I hate PBS's coverage of SCOTUS. Okay, can I just find another? Hold on. Let me find another one, y'all. Y'all. There's the appeals court for DC Circuit. Do we know what's being heard there? Let me just see what's being heard there. I'm just curious. Srinivasan, Amicus Center for Institute. Pretty standard stuff. Where is my little Supreme Court? Where's my Supreme Court? Where's my little SCOTUS? I don't know. I just feel like this country has really fucking let us all down. Okay, we all let ourselves down, I guess. I feel like I was always doing the best I could, like do what you can, be as knowledgeable as you can. And now I feel like there's things we've never known. You know what I mean? Like, I just, and I know that's true, but my God, who can keep up on all that? Who can keep up on all that? Where's the goddamn, you're telling me there's one SCOTUS thing and it's only PBS? PBS is my only choice. Not spelled right. Okay. Wow, nobody wants to hear the Supreme Court. There's one live thing. I guess you know what? I'll try our least favorite C-SPAN. Well, my least favorite. Did you know I missed my lab appointment yesterday to get my blood drawn because I was sleeping. I slept till 11, and then I got up. I went and got my medicine. Then I came back and fell back asleep until like 9 o'clock at night. Terrible. Okay, wait. What was I doing? Oh yeah, C-SPAN. Oh my God. Give it to me. Give it to me, baby. That funk, that. Give it to me. Where's the live? Where's the live? Give me the live. Supreme Court, here's a case. Supreme Court, here's a case.
For B3E does not bar review here, but the simplest one
They
is
don't
this.
have the people either.
The subject of our cert petition was
Dumb
not the
shits.
denial of an authorization. This argument is based
wrong
on
one.
Castro and the passage on page 380 that starts with the sentence, even if for argument's sake. The court assumed that there was a denial of
I'm
going
gonna find the background on this
the
case.
Court of
Hold on.
Appeals had stated that the prisoner could not satisfy the gatekeeping requirements. But this court unanimously held that this denial was not the subject of the cert petition because the prisoner sought review only on the antecedent question of whether he had to satisfy the gatekeeping requirements at all. There is no material distinction between that question reviewed in Castro and the question here, which is whether petitioner must satisfy the gatekeeping requirement in B1 at all. Because there is jurisdiction, the court should seize this opportunity to resolve the 6-3 split that has evaded the court's review for the past several years and that will otherwise go unresolved. I welcome the court's questions.
Why would Congress want to treat federal and state prisoners different?
Justice Thomas, the short answer is federalism. We know throughout EDPA that Congress did in fact treat state and federal prisoners differently. We cited numerous examples in the statutory text that reflects that differential treatment. And we even see that with respect to second or successive applications as well, with respect to the newly discovered evidence criteria, which we know are different. The fact is that state prisoners, when they are in federal court and challenging a state judgment, the tension is high with the sovereignty of a state court. And so that is why we see it with exhaustion. We see it with the deferential standard in 2254D. We see it with the limitations on evidentiary hearings. And B1 is just another example of that differential treatment.
So what was the point, what was Congress trying to accomplish with 2255, with the addition of H in 2255?
In H, Congress was enumerating the two conditions that federal prisoners must, one of two conditions that they must satisfy before they can bring a second or successive 2255 motions. The only other thing it did in H was incorporate the certification provisions in 2244B3 that govern how that determination is going to be made.
As between federal and state, beyond the federalism issue, why would those be treated differently? The prisoners, the federal prisoners and the state prisoners, they had been treated differently, but I think the effort by Congress was to bring them closer together in treatment.
Your Honor, we don't agree with that. We see numerous examples in EDPA where they are treated differently, so we know that they're not treated the same. And beyond federalism, we know finality concerns are different. State prisoners have had multiple rounds of review by the time they get to a successive 2254 petition, and the number of state prisoners far outnumber federal prisoners in our system. And so Congress would have been concerned about finality, most of all with state prisoners, including the fact that the vast majority of capital inmates here in this country are state prisoners.
Going back to that point, when you say multiple rounds, a state prisoner has had a state court, intermediate state court, final Supreme Court, a district court, and a court of appeals. But in federal court, a prisoner only has 2 rounds or 3 rounds of review, correct?
That's correct. What state prisoners have that federal prisoners do not is they also have state post-conviction review, which serves as an additional level of review that federal prisoners do not have. They also have, of course, the right to appeal any federal claim to this court, even under an appeal of their state conviction. And we actually see a collateral estoppel bar in 2244C that applies only to state prisoners.
I'm sorry. Please. Counsel, I don't want you to give up your first argument on jurisdiction. I know that in a previous statement I made in this very case, I suggested that it was wrong. But your brief gave me great pause. Don't give up on it. All right? Your position is that the cross-reference barring jurisdiction does not unambiguously incorporate the cert bar that exists for state prisoners, correct?
That's correct.
And our case law is replete that to deprive us of jurisdiction, it has to be clear.
That's correct.
All right, and unambiguous.
Correct.
And this is not. All it says is that successive habeas motions filed by federal prisoners, quote, must be certified as provided in Section 2244 by a panel of the appropriate Court of Appeals, right?
Correct.
We should get the DOJ to look into that.
That's not sufficiently clear because this court is not a panel of the Court of Appeals, right?
That is correct.
And so it's speaking about whether a full panel could hear it, not whether the Supreme Court could hear it, correct?
That's correct. To be clear, we are not giving up that argument.
All right.
We are simply saying, as we did on page 15 of our reply brief, that it's not necessary.
Because of the Castro argument.
And our other narrower arguments.
Right.
But
any review by this court of a panel cert decision is not part
Pepper,
of how
isn't
the
that illegal
panel
for them to
certifies
deal behind the
successive
scenes?
Filing, correct?
That's correct. Our argument is based on the text of 2255H.
But crime is legal now.
Which incorporates the parts of 2244 that, quote, provide for how a motion is to be, quote, certified by a, quote, panel of the appropriate Court of Appeals. And our position is that incorporates B3A through D because those provisions do just that. But it does not incorporate E, which comes into play only after the certification determination has been made, and it provides limitations on further review in the form of rehearing and certiorari.
Gelson's has orange juice that's fresh squeezed, and I buy little ones of it. It's so
question. Good. The 2 standards of review, H and what the state court looks for, you mentioned earlier, are very different things, correct? The substantive standards.
With respect to the newly discovered evidence, they are different. With respect to new rules of constitutional law, they are identical.
But there's still a difference.
And with the newly discovered evidence, yes.
And 6 circuits are applying the state prisoner substantive review provisions rather than the federal substantive review provisions.
Our position is that they are applying B1, which on its face applies only to state prisoners. That's correct.
All right. Thank you, counsel.
Yeah. Doesn't your reading of 2255H make a hash of the procedure that Congress has prescribed? An authorization to file a second or successive application must be certified by a panel of the Court of Appeals, and that court has to do that not later than 30 days after the filing of a motion. But on your reading, even though the panel has to move very quickly, once the panel has ruled, if it denies the application, then the prisoner can move for rehearing en banc, and there are no special time limits on that, or rehearing before the panel, there are no special time limits on that, can file a petition for a writ of certiorari, there are no special time limits on that. So doesn't your reading completely vitiate what Congress was getting at?
Sure. We understand that concern, Your Honor. Our position, this only goes to our broadest jurisdictional argument that Justice Sotomayor referenced, not our narrow ones. But to answer your concern, we don't think that Congress has to legislate in an all-or-nothing manner here. So with the 30-day limitation on the front end, that significantly increases the expediency of the process here. normally an appeal would take a year, now it takes 30 days. But that doesn't mean that Congress also wanted to eliminate all forms of further review. And we see Congress doing this in 2266, another provision of AEDPA, which places time limits on the resolution of capital cases, but does not dispense with further review and rehearing or certiorari. Of course, our position is that the court does not need to address this argument because we have three other narrower arguments, and this, of course, was the same approach that this court took in Castro, where
every court of appeals has decided the issue you've just been deciding against you, right?
in the context of rehearing. Of course, no court of appeals has done so in the context of certiorari. But yes, I believe that is correct.
I'm just going to read to you the introduction because this is a little bit complicated case. So I've linked the case docket from SCOTUS blog in the chat so you can take a look at it. But let me just read. I wish they would give us okay, that's not helpful to me at all. Let's see. Where is the statement of the case? You guys probably already know what the case means. I don't know what it means. Let's see. Oh, wait, maybe this is one. Okay, here we go. This is this should be the Boe case. I'm hoping it's Boe v. United States. I hope. Because there's two today. I don't know. Let me see. Neil, what did you guys say? Great hair day. Oh, Jane, thanks. It's clean. It's clean today. That's a good thing. That's a good place to start. Okay, so let me just read this to you quickly. The court will re-enter the complex world of habeas corpus, on Tuesday, October 14th, in the case of Boe v. United States. In 2008, Michael Boe conspired with three other men to rob an armored car in Palm Beach County in Florida. After driving around in a van looking for a suitable target, the group pulled alongside a Loomis armored car parked at Wachovia Bank, carrying $560,000 in cash. Boe got out of the van with a semi-automatic rifle and shot the armored car's driver and security guard. Failing to get any cash, Boe's co-conspirators fled in the van while Boe ran away on foot. After he and his co-conspirators were arrested, Boe pleaded guilty in federal court to 3 counts: conspiracy to commit Hobbs Act robbery, attempted Hobbs Act robbery, and a firearm offense. The section blah count, which carries a minimum sentence of 10 years because Boe fired the rifle, required the government to prove that a firearm advanced a crime of violence. The indictment alleged that both robbery charges, conspiracy to commit Hobbs Act robbery and attempted Hobbs Act robbery, qualified as an underlying crime of violence. Okay, so conspiracy and attempted robbery is the underlying. Okay. Boe was sentenced to 24 years in prison. Starting in 2016, he began filing numerous petitions challenging his conviction. Under the 28 U.S. Code 2255, the habeas statute that applies to federal inmates. In these petitions, Boe sought to use an evolving line of Supreme Court rulings that narrowed the definition of a crime of violence. By 2019, the Supreme Court in U.S. v. Davis invalidated as unconstitutionally vague the portion of Section 924 that captured conspiracy to commit Hobbs. Hold on, I'm gonna help you out. Hey, come on. Okay, I know that's hard to read, but I'm reading it to you. Okay, wait a minute. The habeas statute that applies to federal inmates, that's what Section 2255 is. In these petitions, Boe sought to use an evolving line of Supreme Court rulings that narrowed the definition of a crime of violence. Okay. By 2019, the Supreme Court had invalidated as unconstitutionally vague the portion of that section that captured conspiracy to commit Hobbs Act robbery as a crime of violence. And then in 2022, in U.S. v. Taylor, the court rejected an effort to classify attempted Hobbs Act robbery as a crime of violence. Thus, under federal criminal law, Boe did not commit a crime of violence, even if shooting 2 people during a robbery would seem to meet any ordinary understanding of a crime of violence. Well, When Beau filed his first habeas petition in 2016, he lost his constitutional challenge because precedent of the U.S. Court of Appeals for the 11th Circuit at that time still treated attempted Hobbs as a crime of violence. When Beau later sought relief under Davis, that had not changed, as Taylor had not yet been decided. Beau then filed further habeas petitions after Taylor was decided, arguing that because neither of his robbery convictions now constituted a crime of violence, his Section 924 conviction should be vacated. Under Section 2255, a federal inmate can only file a second or successive petition seeking habeas relief if he can make a sufficient preliminary showing that he satisfies one of two limited grounds. His petition contains new factual evidence establishing innocence, which the holdings in Davis and Taylor do not satisfy, or new retroactive constitutional claims, a complicated area of law unto itself, which Taylor does not satisfy because it turned on statutory interpretation. Before the Supreme Court now, Beau is seeking to clear two hurdles to try and benefit from the combination of Taylor and Davis. So hopefully that helps you understand a little bit of the catch-up on this. Catch-up, get it? Get it. Sorry. Okay, we continue.
However, none of the...
If that's correct, right, so just to step back, you agree that B3, A, B, C, and D are all incorporated in 2255?
Correct.
So we're left with E. And as Justice Alito pointed out, every single court that's addressed the issue says that that does bar panel rehearings and en banc rehearings. But you would ask us to overturn all
Makes
those
me
decisions,
sad that
or
Mark,
do you think there's a way to say
what's his
those
name
decisions
is
are correct,
becoming
but it's only the bar? It's pretty express.
Benioff.
No certiorari.
Salesforce. He owns Time Magazine.
Right there in E. Is it somehow different?
From the rehearing bar, no, that's not our position. We just think that the six...
So they're all wrong. All those courts are wrong.
Correct. They have not actually taken the text of 2255H seriously.
Okay, I appreciate that argument. I understand that argument. Is there something odd about the fact that you would bar cert petitions and rehearing petitions for not just state prisoners under 2254, but also any 2244 pre-conviction prisoners, but yet not federal prisoners? Do you see what I'm saying? I mean, 2244 isn't just post-conviction relief, it's pre-conviction relief too, often. That was its central and original function. And yet they couldn't bring cert petitions. They couldn't bring rehearing petitions. State prisoners can't bring rehearing petitions post-conviction. But federal prisoners can? Do you see the incongruity there that I'm observing?
I think it's a difficult question whether 2244B applies to 2241 habeas petitions, which I think is what your question is getting at. I certainly don't think the court has to decide any of that here.
But that is where your logic leads, and so I just wonder how that could be. What would be the rational account for it if that's how it works?
Our position is simply that the text here treats federal prisoners differently in B3E in the same way it does in B1, and that is, of course, due to federalism. That is a plausible explanation. Again, however, I don't think the court needs to go broad here when we have narrower...
But can you think of, and maybe the answer is you can on your feet, and I get it, any reason why pre-conviction prisoners would be barred, but post-conviction prisoners wouldn't be?
Well, Congress has drawn a distinction throughout the statute between people who are in custody pursuant to a judgment and people who are not. As for pretrial detainees, my experience is that they are not having to file second or successive motions to file their 2241 petitions. To the extent that's a category of cases, I'm just not aware of it. So I think in practice it just hasn't been an issue. But again, I just don't think that the court has to decide any of this in this case.
Right. So you keep going back to your narrow jurisdictional argument, and I'm quite interested in it. And I guess I'm trying to understand whether your response to Justice Gorsuch's bringing up all of the prior Court of Appeals cases is that perhaps they weren't focused on whether or not the panel had actually granted or denied, had actually applied the substantive criteria, and that what E is really doing, this is what I take your argument to be, is essentially establishing a finality requirement when
I don't really
the
understand what
panel
habeas
actually
means.
does apply the substantive criteria
I never
and
get
makes a
that.
determination about whether this authorization should be granted or denied. But when, as here, the panel doesn't do that because it makes some other determination about, let's say, its lack of jurisdiction to make that kind of a ruling, that's still on the table as you read E. That's not being stripped by this statute. Is that right?
Generally, yes. We have three different narrow arguments here, and they're all slightly different. If I can just briefly sketch those out. The first one, logically, is that the Court of Appeals here did not deny the motion for authorization, the key word being denial, because the Court of Appeals dismissed it for lack of jurisdiction. It did not issue a ruling on the merits, and that argument follows from this Court's decision in Stewart. The second argument...
Wait, that's sort of what I'm saying, right? It didn't make the requisite determination that triggers E. You have to grant or deny, not dismiss.
That is correct. That's our first argument. Our second argument is, even if there's a denial, the Court of Appeals did not issue a denial of an authorization because it went beyond the gatekeeping requirements. Now, this argument depends on whether we're right about B1, but if we are, it means that the Court of Appeals did not issue a proper authorization determination because it relied on a requirement that is, in fact, not a requirement for authorization at all. In fact, it's irrelevant to the case. And our third argument is based on Castro, and this is the one I opened with, which is that even if there is a denial of an authorization, it's not the subject of our cert petition. The subject of our cert petition is an antecedent question about whether we have to even satisfy the gatekeeping requirement in B1 at all. That is the line that Castro drew. And on the other side of the spectrum, if we had, say, challenged the Court of Appeals saying you cannot actually satisfy these gatekeeping requirements, that's a denial, that's barred. That is the sort of core focus of B3.
So under this narrow jurisdictional approach, there's still work for E to do. It's not as though your broadest argument is E doesn't even apply in federal cases.
Correct.
That's the one that Justice Sotomayor explored.
Correct.
But now you're saying even if E applies, it doesn't apply in our circumstance for these three
Correct.
reasons.
And this situation is so far removed from the core of B3E. B3E is about preventing this court from reviewing individualized applications and determinations, people seeking error correction in this court. This case is far removed from that because, first of all, we have a non-merits-based dismissal based on a gatekeeping requirement that we contend does not even apply in this case.
Thank you.
Well, you applied for authorization, right, to file a second or successor.
That's correct.
And is that still on the docket of the Court of Appeals?
No, it is not.
So it was denied, right?
No, Your Honor. There's a distinction between a dismissal and a denial in the statute.
It was effectively denied. What you're saying is it was denied on an improper ground.
Correct. The effect of it was a denial. However, we know from Stewart, this court's decision in Stewart, that the effect does not matter because the effect of the ruling by the Court of Appeals in Stewart was to grant authorization. In fact, the Court of Appeals transferred it to the district court. This court said it's not a grant of authorization, and the reason why is it didn't rule on the merits. Now here, the effect is to deny, but the effect doesn't matter. What matters is the Court of Appeals did not rule.
Yes, Grace Lisa. As I understand it, please correct me if I'm wrong, but as I understand it, this is a case of a guy who was convicted of robbery back in 2008 and has been serving his sentence and has filed for a number of, appeals, I guess. I'm sure there's a better word for it, but my understanding is he appealed his conviction based on the fact that in a couple of two different cases, in two different cases before the Supreme Court since he's been incarcerated, there has been a redefinition of violent crime in ways that would have changed his conviction. So he's saying because those future cases, those cases, I should have another chance to come before you and get my sentence changed. but they're not allowing him to do that because I think you're only allowed 2 is what I'm understanding. So that I'm probably so wrong, but I think that's the essence of what the argument is. And then I don't know, in the appeals process, it looks like it was that his appeal of that was dismissed. And so this is their attempt to escalate that. Does that make sense? I think that's what it is. Lincoln Discord. Oh, yeah. I just was reading about that. I was going to bring that up after this case. Let me go ahead and keep playing this case, and then I'm going to bring up that stuff from Discord. Thank you.
On the merits. That's our first dismissal denial argument based on Stewart.
Okay, thank you.
On your broader argument, picking up on Justice Gorsuch's question, the distinction between in-bank or petition for rehearing in the Court of Appeals and then this court's review might depend on the clear statement rule in part. How should we think about the clear statement rule and how to apply it here?
Your Honor, that is a correct distinction, that the clear statement rule that this court applied in Castro to B3E would only apply to the certiorari bar rather than the rehearing bar. So if the court wanted to sort of decouple those, that would be the basis to do it. That's not our position. We just think that E is not covered by the text of the cross-reference in B3E because it comes into play after the certification determination has been made. And as the government acknowledges, B3E, it's just a limitation on further review. And so that's why we think the whole thing falls outside the scope of E, but you're correct that to the extent a clear statement rule would make a difference here, yes, the certiorari bar is even further removed.
What would a clear statement, what more would Congress have to do, do you think?
Well, we have a clear statement in E itself with respect to state prisoners, with respect to habeas applications. What we don't have is a clear statement in H, where we're talking about federal prisoners. And we pointed this out in our initial brief with the Hone decision. And that case drew a contrast between B3E as a clear statement and the certificate of appealability provision in 2253, which didn't have that. And we think that same sort of contrast exists here with B3E and 2255H, which says nothing about jurisdiction.
2255H does say, and this is just as I'm trying to think about this argument, this clear statement point that you have, I think, is your best one on your broader argument. 2255H does say, though, that a second or successive motion must be certified as provided in Section 2244 by a panel of the appropriate Court of Appeals. So what are we to make of that? It says certification has to come from a panel, and then one could flip back to 2244 and say that this whole section in 3 is talking about how that certification happens by a panel, and then E says, and yeah, it really happens by a panel. The panel's word is final.
Your Honor, I understand that point. That's not what E says, however. All E does is prohibit a petition for rehearing, so that's why every circuit to look at this has said that sua sponte rehearing is still on the table. All we're saying is that B3A through D say that the certification determination has to be made by a three-judge panel, but it doesn't prohibit rehearing petitions by federal prisoners. So it's a difficult argument and a difficult issue, again, that I don't think the court would have to address if it went with one of our narrower arguments.
I mean, what E tells you is when this certification process generally stops. I suppose that's the same point that Justice Barrett is making, and it seems to be slicing the bologna pretty thin to say, well, we'll do A through D, but then we won't do E, even though E basically puts the period on what A through D says. It says, here's when it ends, the certification process.
Sure, Your Honor, we take that point. I think the key word that you just used is process, which is not a word that's used in H. That's a word that's added by the government in its brief, along with the words final and conclusive.
I take the point, but you know, it's what H is about is how something gets certified. So it doesn't seem to be too much of a leap to say when you're talking about how something gets certified, you're talking about the certification process, and that includes sort of the statement which E gives about when and how that certification process ends.
Sure, Your Honor. So again, our argument is based on the full text of H, certified as provided by a panel of the appropriate Court of Appeals. We think that only covers the provisions that provide for certification. E comes after that determination has been made.
Could you win without the clear statement rule?
I'm sorry?
Could you win this argument without the clear statement rule?
I think so, Your Honor. But again, I think we're perhaps losing sight of the bigger picture here, which is that the top priority in this case, we think, is for this court to be able to resolve the circuit conflict on B1. So we don't have a particular dog in the fight on
Mark,
how
I
the
don't know what
court
happened to Mark.
resolves its own jurisdiction here. And that's why I keep coming back to our narrower
Mark
arguments,
Benioff
because
needs
to the
fix
extent
himself.
that anyone is concerned about the implications for this, the narrower arguments would avoid that.
Thank you, counsel. In your brief, you argue that interpreting B3E as taking jurisdiction away.
All right, I'm going to call
would
this
raise
one
serious question.
because while I really appreciate the opportunity to participate in the public life of our jurisprudence, this one is so technical, it's just not keeping my attention, and that's terrible. But it isn't actually it is an important, of course it's an important case, as are all they are. Happy to hear that Alex Jones didn't get his case taken up by the SCOTUS, which is absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. Yes, let me take us into some of the stories that folks are bringing up. Actually, I'll just stay here. What am I doing? What am I doing? Sorry for anyone was disappointed that we moved away from that. I'm very sorry about that. I hate to do that kind of stuff. I don't like to be like jumping between things so much, but seems like we've got some news to discuss. Harry Belafonte, that's right. She was they married into the Harry Belafonte family, and then it was hyphenated though. Belafonte. Never mind. Yeah, no, I don't know what's happened to Mark Benioff. He was the guy who founded Salesforce and blah blah blah. And I thought he was a more liberal guy, but apparently money is more important. Money, it's a some my Nina. I love Nina. All right, we're going to read, and we'll get to Nina's and also Jim's piece too, because this all has to do with wagging the dog. Okay. Yeah, Max has the details. Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah, I don't know what happened to Mark Benioff, but Mark, if you're listening, which I know you're not, you need to figure this out. You need to turn back. You need to stop. Stop supporting fascism. Stop becoming one of those businessmen who later on we're going to read about. Well, not we, because I'm not going to be alive, but people will read about you in history books, Mark, and they'll equate you with the businessmen who supported the Holocaust. Mark, that's what's going to happen, Mark. That's right. They all have. So a word to all you Silicon Valley executives who I know are watching. And even if you aren't watching, realize that you are now considered among the scions of industry that supported the Nazi regime and facilitated and funded the wholesale genocide and Holocaust. So, and in fact, you're actually funding a current Holocaust and genocide. So, what do you think about that? That's how you're going to be remembered, Mark. You will definitely be that. So, you better make an about face if you want your legacy at all. I don't know how you can look your children in the face, but there it is then. Or your family. Okay. Yeah, so this situation in Gaza, and I understand, of course, I watch a lot of Chud people, and what they say about this is Trump saved Gaza, and why are you lefties so upset because he saved it? And of course, we know that there's a lot more to this. There's a lot more to this. Hey, hi Sharon, how are you, darling? And what is striking is that, as we read this morning, this peace plan, the 20-point plan, is not new. It is not Trump's. It's actually something that was developed amongst the negotiating teams a year prior, and that the both the Biden administration was not taking it seriously or reacted to it not in a positive way for whatever reason, which perhaps had a basis in, like, was it still part of the whole redevelopment strategy? And maybe that was the I really want to know more about what the Biden administration interaction with that plan was last year, which I hope we will get answers to. And then also that Israel had flat out refused to do any kind of ceasefire plan until there was a new administration. And so that piece, we read that piece this morning from the Times from last Friday. And now, here we find ourselves, supposedly we were supposed to be in the ceasefire phase. I thought he wanted a two-state solution too. So I don't know if there was, I just don't know. See, to me, this is one of those situations where conjecture for me isn't going to help, because I know there's a story behind how those interactions happened. And I just hope that this Times story and other stories can really kick off more press curiosity, right? About how did we get to there? How do we get to there? So I'd be curious. I just think there's a lot we don't know. That's what is very clear, obviously. So yes, of course, we want an end to the killing. We want Palestinians to have their place and to be fed and not shot at, right? So, that is objectively, a broken clock is right 2 times a day, but the clock is still broken. And there's clearly a lot more going on here than just a miraculous peace deal in the middle of, nothing. Oh, why do I have nut liquor on? Sorry about that. Anyway, so, we know that there's just more, that there's more to this. There's a lot of plans for redevelopment of that land by a number of partners. We know that both the whatever political leadership in the Palestinian that are still alive, who are still alive, nor the Israelis, because Erdogan said, I'm not landing in Egypt to have these discussions if Netanyahu is there or something. So that was reported, I saw. And so, there's so much more to this. It's not what it seems. And so, yes, it would be easy to go, oh my God, this is great. And oh my God, he's such a great peacemaker. But that's just simply not the case. That's just simply not the case. It's not the case. So, and then we have this situation where there's reporting that there's been some public executions within Gaza, reported to be by Hamas. I'm not sure we need to look into that reporting more. And then this piece that was shared by Meowing Star and Jay Rance, when she came in, she let us know that the ceasefire had been violated. This is from Middle East Eye. Israel kills 7 Palestinians in violation of Gaza ceasefire, targets civilians inspecting their damaged homes. Israeli forces killed at least 7 Palestinians in the Gaza Strip on Tuesday in violation of the ceasefire agreement signed last week. According to local health officials, 6 people were killed in Gaza City and 1 in Khan Yunis. In Gaza City's eastern Shujaiya neighborhood, at least 5 people were killed in an aerial attack while inspecting their homes, according to Palestinian civil defense. Separately, a drone strike in the town of Al-Fuqari, east of Khan Yunis, killed 1 person. These attacks constitute a breach of the ceasefire agreement that took effect on Friday, which explicitly stated that all military operations, including aerial and artillery bombardment and targeting operations, will be suspended. The Israeli military confirmed carrying out the attacks in Shujaiya, claiming it targeted individuals who had crossed agreed-upon army deployment lines after issuing warning shots. It did not comment on the drone strike in Khan Yunis. Hamas spokesperson Hazem Qassem condemned the attacks, calling them a violation of the ceasefire agreement. The Israeli army's killing of several Gaza residents this morning through shelling and gunfire is a clear breach of the ceasefire, Qasem said in a statement. He called on international actors to hold Israel accountable and to ensure it adheres to its commitments made to mediators regarding the cessation of hostilities in the Gaza Strip. Claims of delay and handover of Israeli bodies. Israeli officials have expressed frustration over Hamas handing over only 4 bodies of deceased captives in Gaza on Monday, calling it insufficient compared to what had been previously agreed. Defense Minister Israel Katz described the move as a failure to meet commitments and warned that any delay would be considered a gross violation of the agreement and will be responded to accordingly. The return of the bodies is part of a broader agreement brokered in Egypt last week, which aims to end the war in Gaza, ease Israeli restrictions on humanitarian aid, and facilitate an Israeli withdrawal from urban areas in the Strip. So far, Hamas has returned 4 bodies, while search operations continue to locate the remains of 24 other Israelis. All living captives have been released in exchange for nearly 2,000 Palestinian detainees. Under the terms of the truce, Hamas is required to release the remains of deceased hostages in its possession or in the possession of other Palestinian factions within 72 hours of the ceasefire taking effect or as soon as it's able to locate them. An international committee is currently assisting in efforts to locate and retrieve the remaining bodies. Israel, in turn, is expected to release the remains of dozens of deceased Palestinians. So, there's that. Yeah. So this is from Reuters reporting Hamas fighters tighten grip in Gaza, clouding future of ceasefire. See, it's like there's reporting on either side. Hamas fighters carried out public executions defying Israel's assertion that war cannot end under President Trump's plan until the militants are disarmed. Jesus Christ. Hamas fighters tightened their grip in Gaza on Tuesday after carrying out public executions defying Israel's assertion that war cannot end, blah, blah, blah. I just read that. In a stark assertion of the group's return, fighters executed men they accused of collaborating with Israeli forces. In one video circulated late on Monday, Hamas fighters dragged 7 men into a circle of people in Gaza City, forced them to their knees, and shot them from behind. A Hamas source confirmed the authenticity of the video. Gaza residents said fighters were increasingly visible on Tuesday, deploying along routes needed for aid deliveries. Palestinian security sources say dozens of people have been killed in clashes between Hamas fighters and rivals in recent days. Although Israeli troops have withdrawn from urban areas in Gaza under the ceasefire that began last week, drone fire killed 5 people as they went to check on houses in a suburb east of Gaza City, and an airstrike killed 1 person and injured another near Khan Yunis, Gaza health authorities said. Hamas accused Israel of violating the ceasefire. The Israeli military said it had fired on people who had crossed truce lines and approached its forces after ignoring calls to turn back. Trump proclaims historic dawn. Hamas's resumption of power in Gaza and continued flashes of violence underscore the daunting hurdles facing efforts to move Trump's ceasefire plan towards a longer-term resolution of the conflict. While Trump proclaimed the historic dawn of a new Middle East to Israel's parliament on Monday, some of the most difficult elements of the plan have yet to be negotiated to resolve issues that wrecked previous efforts to end the war. Israeli forces remain entrenched across much of Gaza after their partial pullback inside the tiny, crowded territory. Promised increases of aid deliveries have not yet materialized for a population of 2.2 million people, many facing famine. A summit co-hosted by Trump in Egypt on Monday ended with no public announcement of a major progress towards establishing an international military force for Gaza or a new governing body. The remains of at least 23 dead hostages remain in Gaza. Dang. I am telling you. Why are we worried about another country's hostages when we have our own ICE hostages? I mean, that's all a good point. I don't think it's not a contest for me. So, but yeah, I'm far more concerned about the people I mean, we have an urgent situation with people that are being just taken off the streets. So, yeah, I think Biden I thought Biden did want that. Maybe that happened. Maybe just to say that hostages are free, so it's trusted. I mean, clearly this was if Jared's involved, something's not right. Okay. Hi, Jen Griffey. Hi, Sandy. How are you? Sandy Bianco. Sandy Bianco. Hi, Griffey. Why do Biden and Kamala think dumb? I have no idea. I don't listen to either of those two people. Both of those people are so irrelevant to me now. I can't even tell you how much it's irrelevant. Irrelevant. I don't care what they say. I want to know what happened in this situation from members of their administration. That's for sure. Yeah. Sua sponte of their own accord. I love that. Sua sponte. Sua sponte is my friend. Yeah, it is gross. It is gross. I mean, really, we have a functioning attempted, I don't know, Holocaust. Like, what are we? I don't know. I guess we're not. I don't know. It's really bad. And I just don't think we know the depth of how bad it is. And that's even more depressing to me. Unfortunately, it's the LARP era. God, it sure is. It's just people that have really, I don't know. I don't know. I made a couple of movies this weekend. One I didn't release yet because I'm concerned. I want to make sure that it's not too mean. You know what I mean? Like, because it's about Peter Thiel and how sweaty he is. But I don't want to insult anyone that actually suffers from that condition because it's not fair. So I have to, maybe I'll show it to a couple of you guys and see what you think. But Jim wrote a year and a half ago. Nixon got elected by doing an illegal deal with the Vietnamese. Reagan got elected by doing an illegal deal with Iran. Bush got elected by covering up Iran-Contra. W got elected by cheating in Florida. Dump got elected by colluding with Russia. Almost like a pattern. Wow. Sweaty from all the testosterone he takes. Oh, do you think he takes testosterone? I wouldn't. Isn't that like steroids? Like, doesn't that make you bigger? Doesn't that make you like a larger? Oh, this is a good one though. This has all the good stuff. When was this? This was May 2024. I'm kind of interested in reading this just to see. So this is from May of 2024. The Rough Plan for the End of America version 3.0. We're in for a rough ride over the next 8 months until the inauguration. Well, Jim, I've got news for you. I think it's important not to sugarcoat it. Our adversaries, foreign and domestic, are not hiding their plan, although it's still got lots of moving parts. I've boiled down the outlines based on what they're telling us themselves. This plan is being backed and executed by the same transnational organized crime network in the act of trying to overthrow a third U.S. presidential election in a row. Again, this is May 2024. And here's the 13 fascists hell-bent on destroying global liberal democracy. I do love this graphic. MBS and MBZ, Netanyahu, Putin, Mercer, Koch, Thiel, Prince, Flynn, Bannon, Stone, Dumpy McDumperson, and Elmo. That picture of Rogers. He's the penguin. Here's how they did it in 2016. Here's how they tried in 2020. He has done different things, different links there. This time they have a lot more resources in place and a lot more practice. The Rough Plan for the End of America. I'm just curious to see how this kind of like stacks up against what's actually happening. Radicalize, merge, and mobilize. This is important. Radicalize, merge, and mobilize QAnon Plus, MAGA, and Christian nationalists into a single enraged death cult prepared for violence. Focus on Mike Flynn as the general and Trump as a martyr. Okay, that might be partially true. I'm sure. I don't think Mike Flynn has emerged yet into his, whatever. That's true. Oh, keto diets can also cause hyperhidrosis. Okay, that makes sense. I mean, it seems like something that could be influenced by diet. I wonder if he's doing that. He is one of those people. I'm telling you right now. I think he's invented his own concoction of stuff that goes in his body, and that's probably what's doing it. Inspire or create black swans to terrify the population, up to and including assassinations. This was in May of 2024. Oh my god. Oh, Jim. Oh boy. Push people to only vote on election day if there is an election. Cause chaos leading up to and during the entire election process. I can't even remember the election process. Is that bad? Is it bad when I just can't even remember? Yeah, he's getting paid to speak when he should be at Jim's deposition. That's right. Hey man, he wanted it. You pull the tail, you get the pig. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Flynn has been the head of the PTA at West Point. That's his current role. No, actually, I think he's being. I think there's some. Oh, well, actually, Jim has better reporting on this, but I think it's more around his relationship with Tulsi Gabbard and stuff like that, and the intelligence part. So there does seem to be fuckery afoot, if you will. Let's see. Discredit the voting system, especially mail-in ballots, by any means necessary. Well, that was done. Infiltrate election committees, state legislatures, counties, and precincts. Local action has national impact. They've been doing that. Deploy poll watchers and white nationalists to intimidate people and manufacture evidence of fraud. We didn't really see that as much, but we definitely saw like the housewives. Wait, here we go. Remember when Joe Flynn tried to tell me they had no clue who the Gold Institute is? Well, that was a lie. Oh, okay. Let me pull this one up. So that's what Flynn is up to. Okay. Oh, that's right. I did hear about something about that. Okay. Discredit electoral votes in Biden states using Big Lie 2.0 psyops, propaganda, and active measures. Siphon off Biden's vote with RFK Jr. and Cornel West. Yeah, I think he really did the RFK Jr. for sure. Cornel kind of self-destructed there for in a minute, which is too bad. I really have always liked Cornel West. I just don't. I mean, I understand where he's coming from, but I don't know. That kind of made me sad because I think he's like really smart. The primary goal is to force the total electoral vote count of the winner under 270, which would cause a constitutional crisis by throwing the vote to the House, which would almost certainly hand the presidency to the Republicans regardless of the vote count, which could have happened. It didn't, but it could have. If constitutional means fail to steal the election, there will be a violent national insurrection. But thankfully, we didn't have to have that one, at least. Flynn, Trump, and his allies will not go quietly. They'll activate their large radicalized death cult. Well, they already, I will say, Jim, they have activated their large radicalized death cult. And it's not even around 1J6. Now it's like they're part of the arm of the DHS. A significant part of law enforcement will not stop this, and some will help. That's been true. Anybody know what's happening in Memphis? Putin will bring his entire array of assets to bear on helping ensure there will never be. Well, I mean, I think that's pretty much what we've seen. Oh, this is. I love this. Look at this little donkey face. He's such a dope.
Do you believe the violence on January 6th was justified morally?
Take the fifth.
You believe the violence on January 6th was justified legally?
Fifth.
General Flynn, do you believe in the peaceful transition of power in the United States of America?
The fifth.
Yeah. There you go. That's all you need to know. This is from Flynn's National Insurrection Tour. You're talking publicly. This was a year ago, just so you know.
In history, to be alive, you are living in a historical moment that will be written about for thousands of years. Trust me.
I bet you that jacket smells funky.
I am a student of world history. I am a student of U.S. history. This has been my life. This is what I like to do when I get up early in the morning.
I crime.
And study and think, right? And we are living in a moment of
You don't know
world
where
history,
it goes?
and it'll be written about for a long, long time. And what we've got to do is we either got to make it, right? But the only way that you can make it is if you live in it. Okay? And so I appreciate the fact that you're here today.
Okay, Grandpa. Okay, Grandpa.
Like this, because I wanted you to feel that this is
See
not
that
just
jacket?
about,
It's the same jacket.
General Mike Flynn and
That's
what
got
they
to
did to
smell
General
bad.
Mike Flynn. This is what they
Okay?
did, and this is what they do to every single American that gets in their way.
But you know, I want to say, even though you don't see him in front of you like all the time now, his persistent messaging, like we've heard, now 3 different times, 3 different points in time, right? You just heard him speak over 3 different points of time. His consistent messaging and this kind of reinforcement. I'm telling you right now, I was listening to the kid who was on the ground in Portland that was picking fights with everyone, Tommy Boy, right? I told you about him. I think that I know. When I'm listening to this kid's words, right? What does he say to the lefties, and what are the insults? What are the factoids that, he regurgitates? It is everything that Mike Flynn has been the cheerleader for, that this persistent messaging through the Steve Bannon network, through Mike Flynn's own kind of outreach, through his tours and all of that, that the chuds who are on the ground, the people who are now the digital soldiers, right? They learned their lesson. This worked. What he did worked. He ingrained in right-wing messaging throughout all of the websites, all the Rumble channels, all the QAnon, all the shit. He really was an architect, not maybe, but an architect of the messaging that would go through and get through, right, to become radicalized, to absolutely hate the left at any cost. It didn't matter. The left was irredeemable. Irredeemable. It was evil, good versus evil. So Flynn's influence in this entire where we find ourselves is undeniable. Because I can hear the things that he says over and over and over again in the voices of these idiots. I just it cannot be ignored. So yeah, I really appreciate Jim's reporting on all of that. And he's paid a great price for it. He's paid a really great price for it. So we do owe him some gratitude for going through that and uncovering one of if not, one of the really significant figures, one of the significant figures that has brought us to this place. And unfortunately, his influence was widespread. I mean, millions of people. So, off topic. Countertops are installed, but new sink has damage. What? Does that mean? I hope they're going to fix it, and you don't have to do anything. The guy that had the classes. Yeah, and that's the other thing. Gal went to an Awakening America, Put America to Sleep tour stop, undercover. Gal went undercover into one of those events, and she talks about how extensive. First of all, it was like one of those revivalist meetings where people are talking for hours, right? Talking for hours and hours and hours, and you're basically worn down, and that's very much part of that, evangelical kind of whatever, fire and brimstone kind of stuff. And that the tour event is really structured like that. And then part of that event is taking people, separating them, and training them as, you guessed it, citizen journalists. All of the stupid ass Rumble channels you see, all of the bakers, the Q bakers, all of those people either have been through part of the, these insurrection tours and they gave them specific media training support through Clay Clark, right? Clay Clark is his buddy. And they would take them and train them and have them go on each other's shows and really worked on embedding that messaging. And it is what we hear today. It is literally what we hear today. They're not all nice because some of them are pretty lazy. But, yeah. Okay, let me find, what did you send me? Here we go. What is this from? Oh, that's today. That's today. Good news. Well, here's what Mike Flynn's up to. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, like the landmark forum. What's that mean? Or est. Yeah, it is kind of like that. Like wear him down, right? Wear him down. Clay Clark was the guy. Yeah, Clay Clark was his like MC / blah blah blah. Oh, the Nina Burley story is about what? Is about wait, I can't see what you said. Oh, about Loomer. Okay. I want to read this and then we'll go to that, I think. Yeah. I think it's who you meant. Yeah, Clay Higgins is also an asshole though. So, technically, you're right. But yeah, Clay Clark is who you're thinking of. Okay, this is from Jim this morning. Good news, Mike Flynn's Champions for Freedom show at Mar-a-Lago is only $2,500 for the cheap seats. Wow, his price has gone up. Lolo, have you read any of the knitting cult ladies' book, The Culting of America? Probably very educational. Yeah, and then I saw a TikTok with the knitting cult lady, whatever her name is. I don't know about her. Okay, I don't know. I just don't know. I need to know more about her. But I saw one last night and I was like, what are you talking about? So I think it was about letting people back. I don't know. It just got a little weird. I think she's embroiled in a little bit of a controversy on TikTok, which is sad. I hope I'm never involved. I'm probably going to be, but I hope I'm never. Yeah, I don't agree with her about everything. She's odd and has a weird history. Yeah, she kind of freaked me out last night. It's this whole purple revolution thing. I don't know. I'm not trying. I'm trying not to get too down that rabbit hole because I can't be bothered with like. I can't be bothered with like grouping and labeling and all this. I'm not there. I'm just not there. Yeah, she does speak to the language of cults. Yeah. I mean, I've heard good things, but last night I just saw one TikTok. It wasn't even a big thing. Okay. Which of these champions are you most excited to see? Well, some of them, I mean, like Bernard Carrick. Yeah. Weird color revolution. No, it got really, it's really weird. I don't even want to speak on it because I don't even know enough about it to have an opinion. Yeah. I like Stephen Hassan. I like Dr. Hassan. He's a good resource for me. But I need to know more about her. But last night there was something that was like everybody, like it was just the whole conversation was turning me off. So I need to learn more. That's what that means. Okay, General Mike Flynn. Okay, here, first of all, you are a lieutenant general, you stupid motherfucker. So stop calling yourself general. Period. Oh, Gary Brecka, whatever that. I don't even know who he is. Looks like roid rage. And then Mike Tyson. Okay, what a top billing. Oh, here we go. Isaiah Washington. That's fine. I don't know. I think he was didn't he like say something really homophobic? Like, I think I don't know. I could be wrong, but I seem to remember. Jim Caviezel, real big white Christian nationalist. Tito Ortiz is a boxer. I mean, whatever. Brock Pierce is a crypto titan, and that's a big forehead. That's all I know. James O'Keefe is an idiot. Wyatt Hendrickson, no idea. Benny Johnson, Russian asset. And baby. Jason Redmond, former Navy SEAL entrepreneur, which means he's unemployed. William Swenson, Medal of Honor, Operation Enduring Freedom. Okay, well, that's great. Congratulations. Mike Flynn will need all the Pizzagate money to pay my lawyers when his case gets thrown out in court. I fucking love that. I fucking love that. I love that. Oh my god. Okay, let's see. This one. Hey, wait. Is this the Gold Institute one? Wait, where's the other one? Where's the other one? Oh, the Nina Burley. What'd I do with that one? Hold on. Sorry about that. Oh, here we go. Do. Oh my god. Ugh. Okay. I don't know how many of you are like horror movie fans. I gotta get a good one. Hold on. Oh my god. But tell me this isn't actually who we're talking about. I mean, isn't this who we're talking about? I'm sorry. That's what I see. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, anyway. Yeah. There we go. Sorry about that. Oh God, where am I? Oh God. Okay. Well, this is The New Republic, is a piece by Nina Burley. Thank you, Gal, for sharing this with us. Apparently, the White House has a code for the Secret Service called LLP, the Laura Loomer Protocol. Keep her away from Dumpy at all times. Hi, Josh. It looks like Death warmed over without the warmed over part. You got your TikTok women confused? Wednesday Addams. I mean, but not even Wednesday Addams. Wednesday Addams is like, oh, that was Park Rose. It sounded like the Skinny Theory stemmed from a negative experience she had. Oh, is Tyson still selling pot gummies shaped like a penny? No, stop it, really? Tito Ortiz is the MMA fighter who beat his ex-wife. That's right, Jenna Jameson. That's right. That's right. My elderly neighbor that I bike with showed me her shirt for the march on Saturday. It had 1776. Hell yeah. Wonder if that's adjacent to purple. I don't know. I need to learn more about it, Meowing Star. I just briefly went through a couple TikToks and I was like, what? So it's one of those things where there's a lot more to it than a TikTok is gonna teach me. These years have been a lesson in what used to be the underbelly of society. I mean, really, go back under your rocks, Laura Loomer, you fucking idiot. Okay. So Laura, what's Laura up? God damn it, I keep hitting the wrong thing. I'm sorry. Okay. Everybody around Trump hates the unhinged Laura Loomer except Trump. She has zero qualifications, zero experience, zero talent except self-promotion. So how'd she get the national security advisor fired? I like Nina. She's a good reporter. In mid-August, Laura Loomer, a woman who has posted lewd and evidence-free tweets about Kamala Harris's sexual history, who calls people she disagrees with cunt, and who has called for Gaza to be flattened and glassed, picked up the phone and got Marco Rubio on the line the evening after he attended negotiations in Alaska with Vladimir Putin. The loomer emergency that the American Secretary of State needed to attend to? A U.S.-based charitable organization had obtained visas for about 60 severely ill Gazan children to come to the United States for treatment. After talking to Loomer, Rubio turned from negotiations with the world's other nuclear-armed superpower to shut down that visa program. Oh my God. I can't even believe these people. I can't believe the depth of... I just can't. In her power and profanity, in her smashing of walls between influencer and journalist and presidential advisor, Loomer is a mile marker in the descent of the American political discourse into depravity and of our government into chaos and farce. One of the most outre, I don't know how to say that, political actors ever to appear on the American scene, eclipsing even Alex Jones in bug-eyed malice and paranoia. She is also one of the most powerful women in Dumpland. She has taken credit for over a dozen scalps, quotes, her word for people let go within hours or days of her public assaults. Among them are a Surgeon General nominee, national security apparatchiks, some with decades of experience in China-U.S. relations and cybersecurity issues related to Russia, the director of the Food and Drug Administration Center for Biologics Evaluation and Research, who later returned to his job, and random Biden holdovers who seem to have been targeted by MAGA co-workers. As self-appointed truffle pig for rooting out Trump's enemies, Loomer has a signature methodology. She doxes and slanders her targets, often with references to cannibalism, oral sex, and other eating-related images that suggest some sort of Hannibal Lecter-ish pathology. I don't know how to say this word either. She eschews sleep and social life, scouring social media and other public histories of government officials and politicos, looking for hints of disloyalty, and then hounding these enemies publicly on Rumble, Twitter, and Telegram. She solicits tips, some of which she claims in tweets come from intelligence sources, others clearly from MAGA appointees, and maybe others with obscure special interests. The White House itself tries and fails to keep Loomer away from Trump, but the president likes her tenacity and loyalty, Steve Bannon told me. He sees her as a killer, and the fact that people are blocking her makes him pay attention more. Clearly, he wants her around. She is his Omarosa, said another source who has worked with Trump, referring to now long-forgotten Trump ex-amanuensis, whatever, eschews. I don't know what that one is either. Come on, Nina, what are you doing to me? Omarosa Manigo Newman. He understands people and ratings. He understands how to get coverage. But increasingly, Trump supporters, including several of the former mentors who helped build Loomer's career, are cowering themselves. The right-wing Christian producer Lauren Witzke, who launched Loomer's podcast Loomer Unleashed, put it this way: if Trump needed a pit bull, and we went all in to create his pit bull, and we created a monster. Oh, Oh. When Flynn took her. I started following. There you go. More hot mics from the inside. We deserve it. I know, right? I think we do deserve it. We certainly deserve more information than we get. Okay, let's see. Many a MAGA influencer could be awarded the red H badge of hypocrisy, but in the wake of Charlie Kirk assassination, Loomer has performed a triple axel. In July, she went on a tear about Kirk's supposed disloyalty to Trump. I don't ever want to hear Charlie Kirk claim he is pro-Trump ever again, Loomer posted on X on July 13th after Kirk demanded Trump release the Epstein files. After this weekend, I'd say he has revealed himself as a political opportunist, and I have had a front row seat to witness the mental gymnastics these last 10 years. Lately, Charlie has decided to behave like a charlatan, claiming to be pro-Trump one day while he stabs Trump in the back the next. TPUSA was only able to thrive thanks to the generosity of President Trump. After Kirk's murder, that didn't escape attention. She has so far brazened out a wave of criticism while demanding the doxing and firing of people who have posted critically about Kirk or about the White House effort to martyr him. This latest unblushing mendacity has, I'm told, put Loomer even further on the back foot with Washington MAGAs, many of whom have been living in terror of her notice. Loomer, 32, has emerged as the radical right's Madame Defarge, the remorseless, bloodthirsty woman in A Tale of Two Cities, the Dickens novel about the French Revolution, knitting the names of enemies while sitting beside the guillotine. Loomer is adamant that the sole reason for her freelance vetting is that Trump's own staff has failed to root out Biden holdovers and other current and prospective hires wobbly on the president and his policy whims. But one MAGA Republican who asked not to be named because of fear of retribution likened Loomer's MO to shakedowns. It's extortion, political intimidation, and trying to eliminate competition in the dirtiest, backhanded, disgusting tactics, they said. So when Dump dies, does that mean she goes away? I mean, that would be a positive. Bless you. That's right. I remember that. She did, I remember she chained herself to the door of the New York Times. Oh my God. Yeah, she's batshit. I always mix her up with Lara Logan, though, or whatever her name is. I always mix those two up. Not sure. Not sure about that. The traitor brainwashed my airy, fairy, artistic, yoga-doing, free-spirited brand. I loathe him with every... I know, and that's really... it's just so sad. It's just so... So I just wonder, if she dies, does this... Yeah, Lois Lane or Lana Lang? Right, exactly. Flynn endorsed her congressional... Oh, that's right. That's right. When Laura Loomer ran for office, Flynn endorsed her congressional... That's so weird. Okay. And in the face of all this, the Washington political media, flailing under the avalanche of Dump's second-term abuses of power, God, thank you, that's a good way of putting it, has been sane-washing Loomer for months. CNN and the Washington Post have run essentially normalizing features. Politico harvests her opinions for articles like those of any other strategist. And why not? Besides strolling into the Oval Office to denounce national security aides with orders of magnitude more experience and education than herself, she meets personally with the Vice President and the Secretary of State, oh my God, who apparently also takes her calls while in the middle of superpower negotiations. Roger Stone created her. That's right. She is a Roger Stone production. Wow. She meets personally with the Vice President and the Secretary of State, who apparently also takes her calls in the middle of superpower negotiations. She claims to have spoken to Dump on the phone about 50 times. The New York Times profiled her recently as Trump's blunt instrument. In fact, the opposite is true. She is a blunt instrument for getting to Trump. A close read of her Loomerines suggests her project surpasses just hunting down crypto libs in government. As she's gained mainstream notoriety, she's been the recipient of ever more tips, as she puts it, and she appears to have attracted actors who might want to use her to channel their own influence. As one of the most reprobate nodes in the influencer system around, Trump, Boris Epstein, perhaps a notch above. Yes. Loomer is a textbook gauge of the rise of corrupt authoritarian and cronyism in American politics today. That's an interesting way of putting it. LLP activate. On a recent spring evening at the Kennedy Center, as staff and security were waiting for Dump and Melania's motorcade to arrive for a performance of Les Miserables, a certain code crackled across all advanced team comms. LLP activate. Everyone with an earpiece in the vicinity understood the acronym, Laura Loomer Protocol. According to my source, this is an actual strategy understood by White House advance teams. When a sighting is shared, the teams know to keep eyes on her and, in the patois, initiate containment. Somehow, Loomer has slipped into the VIP room without a ticket, positioning herself within a clutch of donors waiting for photos with Dump and Melania. It was a very small group. He wasn't there yet. It was pre-staging, and she'd positioned herself as the first person in line, a source close to the advance team said. They removed her from there and put her in an outer perimeter. As she was being gently guided away, she was talking the whole time, strenuously objecting. I'm supposed to be here. I have to let the president know what press to talk to. The president wants to see me, and in the presidential box. That LLP activation was successful, but successful Loomer containment has not been the norm in Trump's second term. With the help of well-placed insiders, Loomer has frequently found ways to hustle past perimeters and into Trump's inner sanctums. I'll bet. Most famously, when she spent at least 2 hours in the Oval Office with Dump and other government officials naming supposed internal national security enemies before he ousted 6 of them, followed by National Security Advisor Mike Waltz later. Yeah, that day, she was not on the president's schedule, according to the White House press office. She might have leveraged an invitation to the Rose Garden celebration of Dump's first big tariffs announcement to work her way over to the Oval Office. She finds a way to get herself on the campus wherever he is, and then uses her cunning and ability to speak her way past people to get them to get her closer to him until he sees her, a source close to the White House told me. Once he recognizes her, there's a 50-50 chance he will say, "Hey, Laura, come on over here." After Kirk's death and other critical notoriety in late summer, the source revised those chances down to 70-30. Loomer insists, "I had a meeting on his calendar." She said Dump personally invited her to come 2 days earlier, but she was delayed when bad weather in Florida canceled her flight. Fame versus Islamophobia. Loomer's audacity and attention-seeking were always aspects of her personality. She grew up in Arizona in what she described in a memoir as a climate of fear and violence in her home. The truth is, at a very young age, I learned that most people can't relate to the horror show that was my childhood, she wrote. Having friends over at my house was never an option because my brother's severe mental illness and unpredictable violent episodes meant the police were at my home on a weekly basis. Most of the time, I didn't even have a bedroom door, she wrote, because her brother would kick it down if she locked herself in to escape getting beaten or stabbed. Loomer spent high school hundreds of miles away at a ranch-style boarding school in northern Arizona with a graduating class of 32. She was blonde and pudgy, nearly unrecognizable from the raven-haired sylph of today. One classmate recalled an awkward teen who acted out in bids for attention that elicited classmates' pity. "We were all close, you kind of just dealt with Laura," the classmate said. "You felt bad for her." The classmate recalled one incident that exemplified her situation. At one point, she had to have a surgery. Neither her mom, a nurse, nor her father, a doctor, traveled the few hours' drive from Tucson to be with her. She was nursed in the dorms by mothers of 2 other students. "I think they just placed her there. Her dad wanted her gone," the classmate said. Her conservatism was already chiseled. As a teen John McCain supporter, she often unleashed extreme anti-Islam sentiments, even screaming at 2 Turkish exchange students that they were terrorists while they were praying, according to the high school classmate. As she came of age, Islamophobia became her brand. At Florida's Berry University in 2014, Loomer caught the attention of Gateway Pundit and Breitbart News with an Islamophobic Facebook post about how her school's interfaith service on 9/11 was opened by, as she put it, quote, an imam literally chanting Allahu Akbar. That bit of notoriety got her invited to a 2014 David Horowitz Freedom Center gala in Palm Beach, where she met and offered her services to Project Veritas founder James O'Keefe. Well, she must have met Roger before then. I know, stuck in their pain. Yeah, and we get to suffer for it. And everyone has had some pain. It's not a contest, but at the same time, that doesn't mean you have to become a complete asshole. I don't know. You have that clip? Oh my God. At Veritas, she pulled stunts like going undercover in Hillary Clinton's campaign to try to get aides to accept illegal contributions on hidden cameras. She appeared as a contestant on a show of one of 3 women vying to date cannibal cop Gilberto Valle, who had just finished a 21-month prison stint for going in chat rooms and fantasizing about raping, killing, and eating various women he knew, including his wife. What? 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 What now? A sylph? Is it? Oh, okay. That's so weird. Oh my God. Okay, I'm high, but I'm not like that high. Her bilious communication style attracted a devoted and large social media following, but by 2019, she was wandering in the cold, attentionless world of the canceled. Loomer's Islamophobia, "Islam is a cancer and Muslims are savages," those are her quotes, got her booted from Twitter, Facebook, Uber, and PayPal, even, she has said, debanked by Chase. Broke and desperate, she cried over her plat on a cringeworthy Alex Jones InfoWars broadcast. "My life is ruined," she sobbed. Her emotional volatility was well known among her peers. As Trump 1.0 wound down, Loomer, wandering in the desert of social media banishment, decided to try her hand at retail politics in Florida. Shortly before her first election loss in 2020, a Republican congressional primary, Loomer texted mentor Roger Stone that she was driving past Lowe's and thinking of buying rope. She has alienated other mentors and friends along the way, most notably in a long, bitter feud with her former friend and campaign communications director, Milo Yiannopoulos, who claims he cut ties because she sexually harassed a young male campaign aide, an accusation she denies. It wasn't the first time she's fielded such an accusation. A prominent MAGA Republican recorded a 6-minute video accusing her of sexual aggression and stalking that is still online. Oh my God, it probably isn't. I don't know what's going on with all the. I have like major like, what are those sirens? I don't know what's up with all the police. Okay, but in late 2022, Twitter, now owned by Elon Musk and renamed X, reinstated her account. I think it's time to cut my hair. Let's see. Allowing her to get back to her brand, turning her name into a verb, and lumering adversaries, and allowing her to follow her following to grow, now to one that is roughly the size of the city of Phoenix. She started her own show, Loomer Unleashed, eventually joining the unmoderated right-wing streamer Rumble. In the first episode, Rumble, created by Peter Thiel and J.D. Vance. That's right. It's all the same people taking all the same pills. In the first episode, posted in October 2023, she talked with her mentor, Roger Stone, about Hamas. Loomer apparently first attracted Dump's attention in February 2023 with a stunt at a DeSantis book signing. But her easy access to Dump seems to date later than that, to that summer, when she was delivered to Dump's country club in Bedminster, New Jersey, by Paul Ingrassia, a New York young Republican now in the Dump administration. Shocker. Ingrassia, wait, is Ingrassia the same guy that is doing the network state in, wait, is that the same one? I know Ingrassia, okay, never mind. I'll look it up after. My head's a little high. Okay, Ingrassia brought Loomer to Trump, helping her pick out a fuchsia bodycon dress on the drive over from New York. On Instagram, Ingrassia posted a picture of himself, Loomer, and his sister in the backseat of a car with the caption, "Trump's posse off to the Live Golf tournament at Bedminster to see the king." At Bedminster, one of Dump's aides reportedly pointed her out to Trump in the handshake line, and the rest is social media history. It's 5 p.m. somewhere. I know. Actually, technically, you're probably late. Loomer later that day posted pictures of herself with a grinning Trump on a balcony overlooking the golf course. Over the next 14 months, Dump shared Loomer content 86 times. By the end of the 2024 campaign, she was riding around on Trump Force One, most famously swanning down the Trump jet stairs when he arrived for a debate with Harris, and later standing by his side in huge dark glasses on a trip to New York for a 9/11 memorial service. And didn't she say that she gave him a blowjob? Maybe not. Maybe that comes later. Trump's late campaign buddy inspired raised eyebrows and intra-campaign panic. Social media buzzed with allegations that their friendship was more than platonic. Thank you. Loomer's own tweets, including hand-holding emojis expressing her love for Dump and even crowing that he blew me a kiss at the Republican National Convention, did not cool the gossip. Last September, Bill Maher took the proverbial bull by the horns and said he believed Trump was fucking Laura Loomer. After that broadcast, according to Loomer, she was officially banished from rides on Trump's plane. Oh, and there was no further discussion of a job in the administration. Loomer blamed Maher and hired Larry Klayman, the former longtime head of the right-wing group Judicial Watch, to file a defamation case that is currently wending its way through a court in Florida. Maher's lawyers are mounting a spirited defense, and the judge has so far seemed unsympathetic to Loomer, demanding to see her financial information, an order which she has so far not submitted. Her case is not being helped by 4 White House officials who recently leaked to Barry Weiss's Free Press that Laura is more trouble than she's worth, and speculated that she is influenced by lobby firms. Loomer responded to that with a set of tweets threatening to expose the leakers. The Maher case has already produced a revealing and extremely combative 228-page deposition. Maher's lawyers forced Loomer to read some of her own tweets on videotape at her deposition at the Washington office of the law firm Davis Wright Tremaine, accusing Kamala Harris of, quote, sucking dick for professional gain, having, quote, an infested snatch, and having, quote, been ridden harder than the community bikes in San Francisco, but no kids ever, implying that she'd had abortions. Loomer and Klayman snickered throughout. Oh, so she was laughing too. Asked how she knew those sexual allegations were facts, she replied that they must be true, since Harris never denied any of it. In reality, I'm a professional person, Loomer stated. I dress very professionally. I can carry myself very professionally. I'm an investigative journalist. What's the matter, Neil? Neil, you're here. Are you here? You're here. Hi, Badge. How are you doing? Okay. Waltz's last waltz. The Oval Office national security bloodbath in April was the first, but not the last time Loomer was publicly linked to firings by the Dump administration. The move was clearly a coup for the MAGA camp of isolationists, a group including Steve Bannon. The diminishment of NSC is a longtime project of Bannon, smash the administrative state program. No one in the history of the National Security Council has ever taken out 6 guys like that, Bannon exulted to me over the phone, explaining that Dump had wanted to drastically cut the NSC in his first term and failed. Bannon said the Loomerines enabled Rubio to cut an additional 125 people from the NSC. This can't be good. No, I don't think she has kids. I don't think she has kids. Must be. Oh my God. Terrible. Okay. Nobody has that effect on the NSC, including Kissinger and Brzezinski that Loomer had. Wow. He said, referring to former national security advisors, Zbigniew Brzezinski. Much but not all of what she advocates for falls in line with garden variety MAGA paranoia, isolationism, and Zionist propaganda, but other Loomer passions are more niche. The breadth of her areas of expertise and the extent of her influence is beginning to resemble that of a DC lobbying firm that might sell its connections to a wide array of clients. She told the New York Times in early summer that she had 5 clients but wouldn't name them. That list appears to have grown, but she remains cagey about them. She told The Atlantic's Michael Scherer recently that several billionaires have retained her for political vetting. Wow. It's the billionaires, damn it. Her first, quote, scalp in the second Trump administration was that of an obscure California-based U.S. attorney named Adam Schleifer. Less than 2 hours after she targeted him as a Trump hater on X, the White House fired him. Schleifer has since filed a wrongful termination case arguing that Andrew Wiederhorn, an American businessman under indictment for a multi-million-dollar fraud charge, had engineered a targeted smear funneled through right-wing influencers like Loomer. Ooh, that's a juicy story. The DOJ recently dropped charges against Wiederhorn, and Loomer fired off a celebratory post on X. In late July, Loomer accused hematologist-oncologist Vinay Prasad. Well, I guess we won't because it's been dropped. Never mind. Oh my God. Okay. Who was named in May to run the FDA's Center for Biologics Evaluation and Research of being a closet leftist Bernie bro. He soon resigned. But a small group of influential MAGAs, in a highly unusual move, given the climate of Republican terror around Loomer, fought back. They accused Loomer of working on behalf of a genetic medicine company, Sarepta, that makes an extremely expensive drug, $3.2 million per patient. Oh my God. That the FDA had just banned. Loomer began her campaign against Prasad a few days after the ban. Prasad's supporters smelled a rat. American Majority CEO Ned Runn, a legacy right-winger, son of Jim Runn, a Trump Medal of Freedom recipient and former Olympic athlete, unleashed a volley of tweets claiming Loomer essentially lobbied for Sarepta, speculating she was paid 6 figures by a firm called Michael Best Strategies. Loomer replied by tweet, "This is a blatant lie." 10 days later, Susie Wiles brought Prasad back into the fold. The Best firm also represents a right-wing group called the Puerto Rico Statehood Council, with a history of lobbying around the Puerto Rican economy and specifically a debt restructuring plan. In her years as an influencer, Loomer has mentioned Puerto Rico mostly in the context of body shaming. Porky Puerto Rican Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. On July 17th, she took a sudden interest in Puerto Rico's 10-year-old debt restructuring program. This smells like USAID 2.0, she wrote, another scheme where corrupt bureaucrats and well-connected insiders get rich off of other people's suffering. Trump soon fired the majority of the board of the bankruptcy authority. Loomer vehemently denies taking direction or money from lobbying firms. To admit to doing so is, of course, the kiss of death with Trump. The Eat or Be Eaten foundation of the MAGA movement does presume everyone has a side hustle, a grift, something to upsell. If you're not making bank on your access and advantages, you're a chump, leaving money on the table like the libtard betas who pay their taxes on time. But the flip side is that if you're making bank off your access to the boss and not cutting him in, you are very much risking his rage and your own banishment. And without him, as one MAGA Loomer critic put it to me, you're just a speck of dust. Oh. And depressing. That's so depressing. Why is everything so depressing? Oh my God. Yikes. No, I don't think she's married. I mean, I don't think she's ever been married. Or I don't think she's, forgive me. I don't think she's ever been in a public committed relationship. Let's put it that way. It's the point right before Idiocracy where the citizens somehow escaped with all the trauma and death cult forced to convince you. Yeah, I know. It's, I don't know. I spend my time in like, yeah, no way. I mean, I've never heard of her publicly being connected to a committed relationship. So maybe behind the scenes, but no, it sounds like she's just making hay while the sun shines. Sounds to me like she's doing that. trying to get her a piece of the pie. She'll write quite the book. I'm going to tell you, it's just too much. This is the thing that kills me the most, right? It's not only that all these people will crime right now and do all these things. It's not just that. It's that then they're going to turn around and profit from it. You know? Like that I think is, yeah, they're going to profit from it. Okay, can I access this quiz? Let me see. I should be able to actually. Oops. Maybe I don't. Hold on. It's making me do something. Oh, there. Okay, here we go. Okay. Oh no, come on. Ah, fuck you. So mad. Okay, no, it's not going to let me do it. I don't know why. It's a gift link. Oh, okay. Damn, I actually thought I actually got a fucking thing. It says I have an account and then it tells me I don't have an account. No, you don't. You don't have an account. Let me keep. I'm almost there. Just show me the fucking article, you fucking assholes. Okay, here we go. We're going to do it. All right, now I got it. Jesus Christ on a cracker. Okay, so this is a no. All right, Gen Z slang is everywhere. Do you understand it? One day it's skibbity riz. Next day it's low-key sus or sigma face. A 14-year-old in the United States might be saying the exact same thing. Do they basically like Oh no. Do they? A 14-year-old. Yeah. Thanks to TikTok trends, what used to spread locally now blows up worldwide. Okay. Today's teen talk is also heavily influenced by YouTube Shorts, Roblox, Discord, streaming platforms, and AI-driven memes. Slang is more often absurd, fast-changing, and irony-laden. It spreads like wildfire across the globe and dies just as fast. Yeah. To teens, using slang is like wearing thick black eyeliner or Letterman jackets, says Valerie Friedland, a linguistics professor at the University of Nevada in Reno. She added that for kids who typically lack the professional, legal, and financial status of adults, slang is also a way to yield some independence and social power. Yeah. Teen slang is not ruining English. Once you decide what teens are saying, you'll find humor, insight, even cultural critique hiding between every dead face and Riz. Okay, I'm going to do this. All right, read the text messages and choose your reply to see how good you are at comprehending teen talk. Uh-oh. Can you help me move? Yeah, that's mine. Oh, not quite. Say less is a slang term that generally means got it, and there's no need for further explanation. It emerged from African American vernacular English and became popular in hip hop. Okay, so my answer should have been, wait, what was my, oh, what's right? I guess I didn't get that right. Okay. How was the party? How was the party last night? Bruh, it was mid. Not gonna lie. Well, I could say, why are you calling me bruh? I'll say what went wrong. Yay, I got that right. Correct. Mid, not gonna lie. Mediocre, not gonna lie. Okay. Woo, 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 woo. You should not suck it. Anyone with a child should not suck it. Yeah, bruh is derived from bro. People are saying that. It's a lot. It's happening a lot right now. In whatchamacallit. I got 0 sleep last night. Same. I'm cooked. Pick your reply. I'm operating under skippity mode. I'm burnt to a crisp. Same. I'm cooked. I got 0 sleep last night. Same. I'm cooked, which means I'm tired too. I'll say I'm burnt to a crisp. I did it. I got it right. Cook can mean exhaustive, burned out, or overwhelmed. Yeah, come on. Okay, all right. Skibbity is a word popularized by the YouTube series Skibbity Toilet. Please do not look it up for your own sake. I heard it doesn't mean anything. Skibbity is just like, whatever, skibbity, like whatever. Oh, you just got out of the dentist? Oh, cool. J Rans, I have no idea what that. CUSYBAU 6 to 7. These are too easy. Get out of here. I heard there is an F1 movie coming out. Do you want to go see it? Yes, low key. I think it's going to be a banger. Yeah, pick your reply. High key. Banger is often used to describe any experience that's exciting. Low key means a little bit or secretly. Yeah. Bet means for sure or I'm down. Hit here means something is going to be really good, fun, or successful. What did you think about the show last night? She ate that solo and left no crumbs. She had main character energy for real. Yeah, she ate. When you ate it. It means you did a great job. You killed it. I know, these aren't really obscure. Yeah, Cybo. Oh, Cybo. What does that mean? Some young bitch ate Uranus? Yeah, 23 Skidoo. Yeah, main character energy is used to describe someone who carries themselves with confidence, like they're the star of their own show. FR means for real. Riz is a shortened version of charisma. Yes, Kai Sennett. I follow Kai Sennett. I like Kai Sennett. All right, number 6. Here we go. I'm seeing my cooking class Huz today. Do I look chopped? Pick your reply. You're good. Huz is going to be whipped. No, you're still in one piece. Your outfit is giving a Delulu aesthetic. That's delusional. I know that. I'm going to say this. Yes! Huz is derived from an internet mangled version of the disrespectful word hose. Influencers and streamers began popularizing huzz. I've not heard huzz actually. Do they really still like? They really bow like bow? Okay. I ate it means I crashed. Well, yeah, that it used to mean that. Now it doesn't. Now when you eat it, you're doing a great job. shut your B ass up. Okay. That's a good one. Cybo. Okay. I can do that. It has many variations such as gruz referring to a group of old people and bruz referring to a male friend. Many teens might not understand its origin and think it's short for husband in a playful or ironic way and use it to refer to their crush or a close friend. Here, the texter is saying they're meeting someone from their cooking class they want to impress. Chopped means ugly. Whipped means obsessed with someone in a romantic way. And chuzz refers to a chopped huzz or an unattractive crush. Wow. Giving aesthetic means that it strongly evokes a particular style. Delulu means delusional in a playful way. Used to describe someone as having unrealistic expectations. Originated in K-pop fandoms. Yeah, interesting. But it doesn't describe a wild the way a Pinterest aesthetic would. It's probably true. Number 7, can you pick me up at 4? Dentist appointment, remember. I'll say see you at 4. Because the other options were bet I'm about to be so Sigma at this pickup, or I'll slay this pickup. I'm bussin'. Sigma is shorthand for Sigma male, an internet meme describing a supposedly high status, self reliant man. The concept was amplified in a far right community. It went viral in a 22 meme known as Sigma face. Bussin' usually means good, especially when talking about food. Slay means to do something exceptionally well or look amazing. Parents using slang in the wrong context signals they're trying to force their way into a cultural space that isn't naturally theirs. To teens, it often feels like the adult is performing cool rather than communicating sincerely. I'm slaying. I'm going to keep the vibe alive. Right on. Well, I say. Well, okay. Well, I got one wrong. Wait, what did I get wrong? I want to. What was it? Can you help me move? Say less. I guess I was wrong. Was I supposed to say I want more details or not? I don't know what I was supposed to say. Okay, it doesn't matter. Who cares? Oh my god. I was going to say the same thing. I know. Absolutely. Yes. 100%. I said so wait, what does it say? Set Cybo. Shut your bitch ass up. What's 6 to 7? Did someone just say 6 7? My son got my mom to drop one of those on Thanksgiving. What does 6 7 mean? I don't know what that means. Was this written for aliens from another planet? I'm a senior citizen, and these aren't. I know they're not very new. I don't think they're new. Posted linguist on 6-7 in Discord. Oh, thank you. Oh, okay. 6-7 means it's nothing. Just skibbity mean speak. Oh. Was this written for Starfleet officers of the future? My daughter says people yell 6-7 at school. Oh my God. What? I have missed that one. What's wrong with me? Is 6-7 just, oh, is that what it is? It's just that? Oh, I think I've seen this. Yeah. I've heard that skibbity is just brain rot. That's a whole brain rot thing. Oh my God. What a mess. What a mess. What a mess. I was just wondering what you thought of the brain rot amongst middle school kids and younger. I have this theory that the 6-7 meme is different from previous slang. It doesn't actually mean anything, at least not in the way the previous slang like hip meant fashionable. Mark the speaker is someone who knows the joke. Oh, yeah. I mean, is there anything else like that? And what would a linguist call that? Oh, that's a good, I'm going to put this link that Oomph dropped in the chat that kind of, oh, hi. My cats are like running around. It's marking the speaker as a part of the group. Oh, wow. That's really cool. I mean, that's what's so cool about linguistic shibboleth. That's what's so cool about linguistic stuff is it's such a, I don't know. Linguistics is very cool. I've always been fascinated by linguistics and just the sounds your mouth makes kind of thing. The grandkids were encouraging her to drop at 6-7 her church breakfast group, and they'll love it, and she will do. That's so cute. I think it's cute. Yeah, a lot comes from gaming. Yeah, Roblox is huge. Oh my god, it's huge. It's a new nonsensical slang term from the song "Doot Doot 6-7" by Skrillex. Oh, okay. That's interesting. That's cool. Skibbity. All right. Well, I think I'm going to go for this morning. Thank you so much for coming along. Yeah, I would not let your kids on Roblox. There's a lot of adults on Roblox. That's all I'm going to say. But that's what I don't play Roblox, but I just happen to know there are an awful lot of adults on there. So, anyway, yeah, thank you so much for this morning. I really appreciate it. I will be live. Let's see, what's today? Tuesday? Oh, today's documentary day. Oh, shit. All right, I got to figure out what the documentary is, but I will definitely get in touch with you shortly around the documentary. I have a doctor's appointment in a little bit that I have to run to, but then I'll be back. And I will. Yeah, you ate. Like you pigged out. You ate. She ate that. I love slang. I think slang is fun. I know it's stupid coming out of an old person's mouth like me, but I just think it's fun. So I don't know. I'll just say whatever I want to say because one of these days I'm going to be dead and I'm not going to say anything. So it doesn't really matter if I use slang now that I'm not supposed to be using that because I'm old. You know, not being mean. Yeah, last year cooking was eating. Interesting. It cooks. Oh yeah, it makes sense. Anyway, I love you guys so much. Thanks for coming this morning. I really appreciate it. And I will see you on the Discord, and then I'll see you tomorrow morning for another entry in the Supreme Court. I think the Supreme Court case tomorrow morning is slightly more straightforward, but I can't recall now what it is off the top of my head. Yeah, I'm just going to do what I want as per usual. All right. Okay. Take care. I will see you later and have a wonderful Tuesday. I keep forgetting what day it is. Have a wonderful Tuesday and I will see you soon.